Welcome to another episode of Code Conversations, where we delve into the world of programming languages and what makes them tick. Today, we're spotlighting a fascinating language that you might not have heard of yet, Jill, a functional programming language designed for the NAND to Tetris platform. So what's the story behind Jill, and how does it stack up against its predecessor, Jack? Let's dive in. Jill is essentially a modern alternative to the Jack language, aiming to maintain the core principles of simplicity and efficiency, but with a twist. Imagine Jill as Jack's more elegant sister. It shares the same VM instruction set and the underlying hack architecture, meaning developers can swap Jack for Jill without needing a complete overhaul of their projects. Pretty neat, right? Now, one of the standout features of Jill is the treatment of functions as first-class citizens. This means you can do things like store functions in variables, pass them as arguments to other functions, and even have them return from functions. It opens up a whole new world for functional programming enthusiasts, making it more versatile than some other languages out there. Have you ever tried to manage recursion in other languages? It can get messy fast. With Jill, there's this really cool optimized tail call recursion that allows the language to use constant stack space. This means you can dive deep into recursive functions without worrying about stack overflow. Now that's a game changer. Jill also introduces algebraic data types with pattern matching. For those who might not be well versed in programming jargon, this essentially means you can effectively model your data in a clean and organized way. It's all about making it easier for developers to work with their data structures. But before you get too excited, let's touch on Jill's minimalistic design. There are effectively only three main concepts: types, variables, and functions. And while it's designed to be more streamlined, it does mean that all variables are still represented as 16-bit integers, maintaining dynamic typing, which can be a double-edged sword depending on your experience level. You might also be wondering about the structure of a Jill project. When you set up your project, you'll generally have two main directories. The /c directory holds all your .jill files, the code you'll be working with. The /bin directory is where the compiled .vm files end up. This clear organization helps keep everything tidy, especially if you're diving into larger projects. Now, for anyone interested in giving Jill a whirl, there's a straightforward setup process. You can either grab the pre-built Windows executable or build it from source using Rust. Pretty accessible for those already familiar with the toolchain. As we wrap up our discussion, I think it's fascinating how Jill embraces the common design choices of functional programming languages, like immutability and modular organization. It really invites developers to rethink how they approach coding, transforming processes into elegant, reusable components. So, for those listening, whether you're a seasoned programmer or just starting, Jill offers an enticing alternative that challenges the status quo of object-oriented languages we often see. If you're curious about functional programming or just want to explore new territory in your coding journey, I recommend giving Jill a try. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Code Conversations. What do you think? Could Jill be the language you didn't know you were looking for? Until next time, keep coding and keep exploring the endless possibilities that programming offers.